Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 10. Our material today is Basic Syntax and Production. The material will be delivered by me, Nilam Nafi'ah, and my partner, Nisa Rahmaniah. The first material will be delivered by me. The term syntax is from the ancient Greek syntaxis, a verbal noun which literally means arrangement or setting up together. Traditionally, it refers to the branch of grammar dealing with the ways in which words, with or without appropriate inflection, are arranged to show connection of meaning within the sentence. It studies how words group together to make phrases and sentences grammatically. The part of linguistics that deals with how words are put together into grammatical sentences is called syntax. The process of speaking begins with a message-level representation, which captures the idea the speaker wishes to convey. This message becomes sound at the other end of the model at a stage called phonological encoding. Linking the message and phonological levels are two stages of syntactic processing, or grammatical encoding as it is called in the model. One called functional processing and the other is positional processing. Next is sentence processing. The existence of a field called sentence processing attests to the implicit agreement among most psycholinguists that the sentence is a fundamental unit of a language. In addition, by convention, the term processing in this context tends to refer to comprehension rather than production. A range of information source is used for successful sentence processing. Next is syntactic factors in sentence processing. Since the 1980s, when psycholinguists experienced a renaissance and return to the question of how to relate formal and psychological approach to language, the field of sentence processing has been associated with a commitment to the idea that syntactic information is critical to successful language comprehension. Not all theories agree on the nature of the syntactic representation or the relative importance of information sources that are non-syntactic, but almost all assume that structure building operations are essential for successful comprehension. And then grammatical class of words. Word class refers to the 10 traditional categories such as noun, verb, adjective, adverb, pronoun, preposition, conjunction, numeral, article, and interjection. Okay, next material is content words. Content words are usually nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Content words give us important information required for understanding. And next is function words. Function words help us to connect important information. Function words are important for understanding, but they add little meaning beyond defining the relationship between two words. Function words include auxiliary verbs, preposition, article, conjunction, and pronouns. Okay, that's all from me. The next material will be delivered by Nisa Rahmaniah. Nisa Rahmaniah, time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, for the next is about sentence structure. Sentence building or sentence structure are part of a sentence that can form a sentence consisting of the several words. In English, there are 4 types of sentence formation, namely simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and the last compound complex sentence. And I want to explain one by one of the type of sentence formation. Firstly is simple sentence. Simple sentence consists of one independent clauses, a clause that can stand alone. Okay. A simple sentence contains a subject and a verb, and it may also have an object and modifiers. However, it contains only one independent clauses. And the second is compound sentence. Compound sentence contain at least 2 independent clauses. These 2 independent clauses can be combined with a comma and a coordinating conjunction or with a semicolon. And the third is complex sentence. It is a sentence contain at least 1 independent clause and at least 1 independent clause. Dependent clauses can refer to the subject like who, which, and the sequences of time like since, while, or the causal element like because, if of the independent clauses. And if a sentence begins with a dependent clauses, note the comma after these clauses. And if a sentence begins with an independent clauses, there is not a comma separating the 2 clauses. And the fourth or the other last, it is compound complex sentence. The sentence type or this sentence type can also be combined. A compound complex sentence contains at least 2 independent clauses and at least 1 dependent clauses. And for the next, it is about constitution structure. As observed above, constitution are the proper subpart of sentence. The study of the syntax is the analysis of the constitution part of a sentence, their form, the types of element, and the internal arrangement of element, and the relation among elements within the constitution, their external positioning in the respect of other constitution, and their function. And for the next, it is about a type of sentence. We find we find several types of sentence. Firstly is declarative sentence. It is a sentence used to provide information about something or make statement and almost always ends in a period. It is the most basic sentence type that you can use, and can be simple or complex as necessary to get the point across. You will likely rely on declarative sentence for the majority of your academic writing, as they are used to communicate facts, statement, and evidence. And the second is imperative sentence. It is can use to make a command and ends in either a period or an exclamation mark. Essentially, instead the conveying information, an imperative sentence tells someone to do something. It does not always have to be a strong command. Sometimes it can be used to give someone advice, instruct someone to how to do something, or simply address someone. And the third is interrogative sentence. Interrogative sentence or some as or sentence to ask something or question. and are usually directly spoken or written to the subject. They always end in a question mark. Often, interrogative sentences begin with who, what, where, when, why, how or do. Like imperative sentence, they don't always need to include a subject because they are directly spoken to someone. And for this reason, they are not always present as complete sentence. And the fourth is exclamatory sentence. This sentence can use to convey a strong emotion and most often ends with an exclamation mark. Just like a declarative sentence, an exclamatory sentence makes a statement but about something, but with a stronger impression. Exclamatory sentences are used more often in a casual conversation, but occasionally they can find their way for formal writing depending on the specific situation. And the fifth is active sentence. It is a sentence where the subject performs the action of verb. And the last is passive sentence. It is a sentence where the subject does not perform the action of verb. In fact, in a passive sentence, the action of verb is done to the subject. Okay, for the next topic is about phrase structure and transformational rules. And before that, I want to explain the definition of phrases. Phrases is understood as the group of words that go together to make up a unit in a sentence. They have contribution in a sentence and they have function equivalent into determiners, nouns, verbs, adverb, preposition, and other word classes according to Newson 2006. In other words, a phrase is a group of words which does not express a complete event or situation and does not have its own subject and predicate but having meaning, according to Facebook 2000. And the phrase structure position help the readers to define grammatical position more easily, as it can be very obviously grammatical position cannot be defined in the term of linear orders. And for the complete example, you can look at the paper. And next is type of phrases. It is have 5 types. Firstly is noun phrases. Noun phrases is noun or a pronoun. There are a number of the subclasses of noun and pronouns. The structure of the typical noun phrases may be represented semantically in the following way, where the parentheses indicate element of the structure that may be absent or determine pre-modifiers and non-post-modifiers. And the second is verb phrases. It is main verb and one or the more helping verb. Helping verb are the words that accompany verb in the constructing the grammatical sentence and giving the meaning. And the third is prepositional phrases. It is begin with a preposition and usually end with a noun or pronoun. Practically, it can be understood prepositional phrases by analyzing the prepositional phrases example in the paper. And the next or part, it is adjective phrases. An adjective process is a prepositional process that modifies a noun or pronoun. This process answers the question which one. The adjective process follow right after the noun or pronoun that is modifier or described. And the last, it is add a verb process. A prepositional process that answer any of these questions: when, where, how, why, under what condition, or to what degree. It is a verb process. If you can logically move the prepositional process within the sentence, it is probably an adverb process. And for the next, it is about case grammar. Case grammar is a system of linguistic analysis focusing on the link between the balance or the number of subject, object, and more of a verb and the grammatical context it is requires. The system was created by the American linguist Charles G. Fillmore in the context of transformational grammar, 1968. This theory analyzes the surface syntaxis structure of sentence by studying the combination of deep cases, semantic rules such as again, object, benefactor, location, or instruments, and more, which are required by a specific verb. And for the last is about lexical function grammar. Lexical functional grammar, or LFG, reject the assumption of transformational theory. The basic argument for the LFG approach to syntax is simply that certain transformationalist assumptions are incompatible with the search for a theory of universal grammar, and LFG is therefore a variety of generative grammar, an alternative to transformational theory, according to Chomsky, 1995. Okay, maybe enough. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.